Is there any way? PHNX? What is that?
What is wrong with you?
What the heck was that, man? Did you see that at the end? Unbelievable.
We're going to make a new one for every show, you idiots.
Candidates be up in there.
What is up, everybody? Welcome to the DNVR Nuggets Podcast.
Let's go.
Let's go. Presented by Shady Rays and coming to you live from the Legacy Club. Look at those
guys,
Shady Rays.
Are you interested in looking more middle-aged than you ever have? Not the fault of Shady Rays at all. My face. That's the problem.
We're here at the Legacy Club, the penthouse suite and bar here at Circa. I'm telling you, man, every day we get to see a new place at Circa, Circa Las Vegas. Unbelievable. It keeps raising the bar. This, honest to God, my favorite spot.
What about that
They
room?
can't raise the bar literally any higher than this.
What about that dark room they took us in with no windows where we had to promise we couldn't say what happened in there?
You're talking about what happened.
Oh, my God. Can we edit this? Can we start the podcast over?
Guys, we got a great show for you today because just last night we got to watch the Summer League Nuggets for a second time.
We got to watch the Summer League Nuggets.
I feel
You
like,
guys, man,
listen,
I'm telling you.
I feel like we got to.
I was going to say, man, it's times like these where
boy.
I realize
Is Adam
what a
gonna give
hoops
us a-
junkie I am.
Yeah.
And not everybody can be on my level
I'm
about
on
these
your
things.
level,
No,
bro.
You
I
are on
loved
my
it.
level, man. You love the hoops. No, honestly, yesterday, another chance to watch the Nuggets, and I feel like I just have more information, which is what we're here for, more to analyze with these guys and to kind of figure out. And I want to go through it. In fact, I feel good enough to say that I know this. We can talk about what now are emerging as the strengths and weaknesses of each of these players, especially with how that translates to the NBA level. So I'm excited to get into all of that. Also, there's this new NBA tournament. I don't know if you guys heard about it, in-season tournament that, much to my surprise, I'm in. What? I'm in. I'm excited. So we're going to talk about all of that together. And look, once again, I got the fellas. Harrison wins with me.
Day
4.
How long have we been here?
4. 4th day, baby.
Day 4 in Las Vegas. I'm feeling incredible.
I really am. This is actually the best I have felt in Vegas. Mostly I've taken 2 days of rest. Over here, I got D-Line Co.
Let's go. I know why Adam's feeling great is because he's late night with the fella. Poison! He ruined the night. He had to go to bed early. Everyone was out having fun. Adam was talking about his well-being, which, again, very taboo subject in Las Vegas with the fellas.
Very big.
Your well-being?
No, none of the fellas care about your
Hold
well-being.
on, dude. Hold on a second.
Talk about that was your lady friend in your life. So who cares? Dude? We're here for the
D-Line,
good time, not a long
I can't
time.
believe you're doing this. Did or did we not make money at the table last night?
We set the table on fire.
My guy.
Literally,
I'm telling
and then
you.
we also won money at the table.
We were on fire at blackjack.
we had a hot corner going. Like
Corner.
It has not been seen in these parts for some time. This morning I was like, Adam and I killed it last night. I won $150. Adam won $250, and then I was like, if I won or whatever. But I was like, maybe I won $200. Whatever.
I actually think you won 200.
But I was like, if I was hired to do a job that night and they gave me a check for $200, I'd be like, I got taken advantage of.
But it was fun. And then, behind every, duo that's on fire, there's somebody in the background just cheering them on. We had the best cheer guy going yesterday.
God,
Superstar Dev.
See, that's what I'm talking about. I show the support. I'm a support guy. I'm a vibes guy. Real fast, the way to get up here, because I didn't come with the rest of you guys. What an insane way to get to this location right now.
That can't be the actual way to get up
I
here,
was going behind curtains. I was going behind like doors.
Service
Everybody's looking
elevator
back.
style.
Yeah, service elevators. I get up here. It's just like 2 guys. One doesn't want to talk. I'm like,
we went.
what's his deal?
It was like straight Goodfellas.
Then I get
It
up.
was
I hear a familiar voice. I hear you guys screaming. And then I'm like, you know what? And then I see nothing but this is immaculate views right here.
I know the tragedy of this is that Vegas is like the brightest, sunniest place on earth, but like not in a good way. There are these like insane panoramic windows everywhere, but we couldn't like capture it because you can see how bright it is coming through the the window. But like we're looking at it's gorgeous.
We're
And
actually
you're looking at us, you idiots.
We're on the same level that helicopters fly at.
Yeah, or
like there was a helicopter flying, and I was just
well below us, yeah.
right at eye level.
I honestly
60 floors up.
So people have asked, like, hey, so Circa sponsoring you guys, or why do you keep shouting them out? Full disclosure, don't have to.
Yeah.
I just like this place really is that dope. Like, we keep going to all these different places, and again, they are rolling out the VIP treatment for us, so we're getting to see all of it. But I'm telling you, I hope you one day get the VIP treatment at Circa. It's dope.
Very legitimately, this has been said ad nauseum by us, but like the rooms themselves are of such high quality. Like Circa they understood the assignment, which was to redefine how people think about downtown Las Vegas.
Right.
It's like they've like gone so above and beyond with the details, the things that matter. The water pressure alone in the shower.
Showers are immaculate.
But I'm telling you guys, so I think we're going to who knows? It's a year away. But I think we're going to be back and doing this bigger and bigger. This year, we cut. Well, yeah, by then we will, for sure. But we talked about this year kind of getting a group together, maybe having people come out and sign up. I'm telling you, it's going to happen next year for sure. Throwing events, throwing different stuff. And so remember all the excitement in our voices as we're talking about this, because it's going to be back next year. But today, guys, let's get to the content here, because we got to watch the Nuggets play yesterday. And once again, mixed reviews. I kind of sense a theme here.
Sounds like a summer league squad.
It does sound like a summer league squad. I'm going to tell you off the top rope what my big takeaway is. Usually I go to you guys. I'm going to give you my big takeaway because, like a true sicko, I have watched both games now twice, or a second time. I think that all of summer league has to be viewed through the lens of the Nuggets are playing two small guards. And it's throwing everything off.
I thought Jalen Pickett was 6'4".
No, I told you 6'2". I put this out as soon as I saw
I
the
thought
person.
he was 6'4".
Yeah, everyone knows he's 6'2" with a ratchet.
No, the thing about it, but in all sincerity, like Jalen Pickett, I think can be a 1. Like his size is actually okay. The problem is he's last night. Yeah, he's playing offensively next to a guy who's even shorter than him, and defensively last night, and we know this because we even talked to the coaching staff, they want Peyton Watson to guard A.J. Griffin yesterday because that's more of a natural assignment, and Peyton's the most important guy, so it's like, all right, we got to adjust. So what does that do? That puts Pickett on the power forward.
Yeah. You were not happy about this.
Well, no, I kind of was actually, because it gave us a new, in a weird way.
The ad agenda was firing at that moment.
No, but it gave us, honestly, insight into,
true.
because Pickett is going to have to switch and do different things. So it gave us a look at that. But the big, broader point is, it really is, everything we're going to talk about is affected by that thing. And I hope in Game 3 that the Nuggets go to just one point guard and bring the other one off the bench. I almost don't even care who it is, because I just want those guys to be able to play coherent lineups. And I'll end, and then I'm going to throw it to you guys, but I'll end by saying this. I think the guy most affected by this easily, is Julian Strawther. And I'll get to him a little bit later, but I just wanted to throw out there. So this is my big takeaway, that analyzing these Nuggets is greatly affected by the fact that all of them are playing out of position.
Yeah, and that we were on mescaline when we were watching.
Yeah, that too.
On what?
Mescaline?
What's that?
Whoa, man.
It was that thing I told you to take and not ask about.
Oh, shit. I wasn't supposed to talk about that.
Yeah. No, but Dev, I mean, after watching 2 games, they're giving up so many offensive rebounds, second chance point. They're so tiny. And then guys are just, the skills that the weaknesses or the skills that you're excited about. For example, Julian Strawther is a big shooting guard. Hunter Tyson, he's a 3, not a 4. Well, guess what? They're all playing up the position, so we don't even get to see that.
Yeah. Before we came out here, I said, hey, they don't have a big man. They don't actually have a big man. That's going to be concerning. And in this game, Grant Golden did not play, so that also put a wrench in it, because it's only Kamagate who is not coming over to the Nuggets. So when you look at the Nuggets roster, or the guys that you're excited about, the draft picks, as well as Peyton Watson, you're like, these are pretty much all guards. So how are they going to make that work? You want to get a real look at them, but they are going to have to play out of position. They are going to have to play to some of their weaknesses, and we've been seeing that in the first 2 games. So this wasn't a summer league team that you was just like, hey, they're going to win a lot of games. It's just like, what can you read out of it? And that is the big thing that's standing out right now, is the size differential. But they're going in there and they're trying, and that's the thing that you have to take from it. But also, you're going to see Strawther play out of position and not get to go to his strengths. Jalen Pickett has looked okay, and he's a guy that's going to come in and work hard on both ends of the floor, no matter if he's playing a guard or if he's playing a wing. He's guarding people, and he's actually 6'2". That's tough. And then also you have Gillespie, who is a smaller guard, and he also has looked like he's been struggling with playing off ball. So, yeah, it is just like trying to, be versatile and change it up on the fly.
Yeah, for me, their big issue is that they can't get any rebounds. Like they're smaller than everybody. I don't care that. I mean, I thought it was going to be a little bit more balanced, or at least natural when I first saw the lineup. But this is what happens. You're like, oh right, like they're just like trying to see specific things. Like they're trying to win. They're trying to not win. I mean, who cares? Like I realized this would be the most impactful trophy won in Denver, Colorado in the last years if we could pull this summer league trophy off.
I think they're like eliminated probably.
Oh, God damn it! No, I hate life. Nothing ever works out for us. But it's like you see that it's like, all right, why isn't Pickett running the show? And it's like, all right, they want to see Collin Gillespie do it because he's the bigger question mark probably, which is confusing because he's been around longer, but it hasn't been, he's been physically unable to perform. So there's just like weird things. Like this is why it just in general summer league, I can't look at a box score. I can't look like there's just so many things that you can look at.
You're an eye test guy.
You have to be. I mean, like, your guys either flash or they don't flash. But, like, there are so many mitigating factors on everything. A dependent type player like Julian Strawther is put in a bad spot because,
and he is missing shots. On the box score does tell one story, and that's that he's a three-point shooter who's missed a lot. But we'll get to that.
Yeah.
But overall, you're right. The other stuff, though, is like...
There's just lots of stuff that it's difficult because then, again, like a guy like PWATS is exploring his game. A guy like, Jalen Pickett is put in odd positions.
He was guarding somebody that was 6'9" yesterday. That was his matchup.
And he didn't do a horrible job, honestly.
I'm going to get to it. He did a great job.
But the problem is, like, then if we're analyzing the game yesterday, the Hawks got every rebound and made every shot.
Yeah.
The Nuggets missed half their shots and got no rebounds, and that didn't work.
The rebounding, man, that's the big thing. Is I have no idea how to analyze this team defensively because there's just so many offensive rebounds.
They suck.
All of their threes, or not all. Oh, they had in this game. If we just talk about the game and the flow of the game, there were basically 3 runs that the Hawks had where I think Denver outplayed them for 32 of the 40 minutes, but there were 3 pockets in there where it was like 4 threes in a row in the other pocket, and they were almost all off of offensive rebound kick out for another 3. And it's like, yeah, man, because you have Mark Smith trying to rebound out there, and he's like, I feel like the
Hawks got like 80%
got 4
of their
rebounds in 7 minutes, Mark Smith.
Hell yeah.
Shout out
Mark Smith.
But I feel like the Hawks got like 80% of their own free throw misses.
You're right.
It was like out of control.
It's kind of gone to like college basketball where the best offense is just an offensive rebound.
Totally.
That's kind of what Summer League is sometimes.
But so I say all that to say that I'm glad I've gone back and watched these games the second time, because what stands out to me the first time is, to your point, Eric, things that pop, which are usually like big plays, right? Like a guy made a big play somehow. But when I go back and rewatch it, the things that pop are, you slow the game down, you see a play, you see the thing that popped, and then you're like, all right, let's rewind it and see why did it get there? And then you're seeing, how well do guys read the court, how well do guys space? And I was talking to one of the Nuggets scouts after the game about, what's your big takeaway? And he tells me, he goes, well, first of all, there's a lot of these guys don't understand NBA spacing and timing yet. Yeah. And if you start from that position, and then when you go back and rewatch the game, you're like, oh yeah, like 2 guys are standing on the block right now, and this guy had a great drive, but he ran into another guy who didn't know where he was supposed to be, and so it clogged everything up. And that player, maybe like Collin Gillespie, gets blocked at the rim, and you go, man, he can't finish. And then you rewind it, and you're like, oh, Kamagate's like ran into him and ran his guy into him, or this or that. So that's why I say that you have to really it's hard to really analyze. You have to like really break some of the stuff down. That being said, now that we got that caveat out, there are still some things very positive and very negative that I take away from here. And I want to start today by, man, I don't care. Like, people are just going to be annoyed by this. I'm going to say this. There's 2 players to me that have really stood out overall in this 2 games so far. Yep. And that is, first, Hunter Tyson.
Yeah, it is. My guy, second-round pick. Greatest second-round pick of all time.
It's the best in Nuggets history for sure. But he has looked good in both games, even on the rewatch, in that if you asked me, And actually, the second guy's Jalen Pickett, no surprise for me. If you asked me why do those guys stand out, it's because they best understand basketball. They're also the two oldest guys on the roster, at least at the draft picks.
Yeah.
So part of this makes sense, right?
Yeah.
Like they're
Yeah.
much more developed. And then Peyton Watson has had those pops of moments, and he's had some really good stuff. But live and on rewatch, it stands out to me how much he's like the feel of the game is going to take a lot of catching up. So that to me, that's like been the big standouts.
Yeah, with Hunter Tyson, like you talked about how much chaos there is and how much guys like don't understand stuff. Him popping and him shining just kind of tells me that he actually understands basketball. Like he can
really well.
He can just go into any type of lineup. He can play with anybody and just shine because he just like goes out there and plays and has played at a high level in college for a while and just it comes more naturally to him than other guys. He's just like got that overriding skill about him. So I mean, he's been the biggest shining star for me so far in Vegas. Like that's probably been my number one takeaway. Like Hunter Tyson looks the part. Like he's looked the part in both games.
Yeah, with those two players, specifically Hunter Tyson and Jalen Pickett, the last game is the one that like did it for me because when both of those guys stood out, it was late in the game when it was kind of out of their hands. But it was like, okay, now I'm going to be aggressive.
Yeah.
It was I feel like they were just trying to do the natural feel, and for me, I think Collin has the best natural feel because he just is good in those settings. But with these two, they were just like, hey, I'm going to just take over now.
Yeah.
And now I'm going to look at the rim. Now I'm going to try to score. I'm not going to try to show that I can run a summer league offense.
Yeah.
Jalen Pickett took like 7 shots straight. Yeah. Hunter Tyson was like, I'm going to shoot it.
He did too, though. Yeah, he had a little run at the
I'm
end
going
where
to start
he was
trying
scoring.
to score. And then that's what you're going to see with those two guys is like, okay, now I don't have to care about all those other things. I don't have to prove all those other things. Let me go get a bucket.
Yeah.
Let me show that I can be different. And they did show that they could be different in that setting. So that was like a very positive thing for those two for me.
Hell yeah, dude. Yeah, Hunter Tyson, man. I really did not have any expectations coming into Summer League. But, man, he's exciting. I like you're saying, the fact that he shined late. I mean, I felt like that's not the freeze out theory from before, but he just he wasn't like
They're still freezing him out?
That was an incredible theory.
I stand by it.
I just think that these guys are rough and have only met each other for 3 days.
There is something to this where it's like, I got to make my mark. I got to, you know what I mean? It's
so
like
less freezing out and more guys are like, I got to shine because I haven't shined yet.
It's not like personal against him. It's not like, oh, we got to shut this guy down. It's like, all right, he's got his thing.
Yeah.
Like, I got to get mine now a little bit. But he wasn't part of the quote-unquote offense at all this last game until the end when it broke down. It was like, okay, just go for it.
Right.
And I just like that. I like that he hit the shots that were timely. I like that I shook his hand afterwards. He looked me in the eye like a gentleman. We exchanged pleasantries. He's my guy now.
He's your guy?
Well,
He
with
should be your guy.
Hunter Tyson and Jalen Pickett also, they're the two most well-rounded guys on this team in terms of they don't have a ton of weaknesses, either one of those players. Like, those two can all dribble, pass, and score.
Hunter's dribbling, by the way, has stood out. We'll get to that later. But
Yeah.
I thought he had no handle, and he actually has had some.
They can both shoot it. I mean, Jalen Pickett, people were kind of down on him for his shot in college, but it was just because he didn't like to shoot that much.
Gonna get to that one, too.
Yeah. He's got a great-looking
shot,
jump
yeah.
shot, man.
Very
Same with Hunter
effortless.
Tyson. Like, both those guys are just well-rounded basketball players. They're good at pretty much everything.
I have another take for you, though, Eric, about why those guys shined at the end of both games. Both games, they got aggressive, right, and started looking for the shot. You said the same thing, Dev. I got a theory. This rotation so far has been Hunter off the bench and Pickett first to the bench and then comes back and runs the bench. And what's the bench? Cassius Stanley, Mark Smith, it's been like guys that are not really NBA players, and on top of that, it's not really coherent lineups. But what happens at the end of the games in both games? They've taken the big off the court, and they've put Pickett and Tyson on the court together with other players. So,
the Nuggets death lineup, that's what we're calling
Well,
it. The Summer League death lineup.
The heat, the death of heat, the exposure lineup.
Well, what it really is Hunter has played more minutes than anyone with bench guys, and then usually with Pickett alongside him. But then it's like 2 or 3 non-shooters here, whatever. At the end of games, you have Strawther, Peyton, and Collin,
Yep.
2 guys that are great shooters, and then 1 guy that is a good slasher, and then you've got Pickett and Hunter Tyson, another shooter. And we'll get to this later, but the spacing is great, the lineup is great. They don't have a big guy, but to me it's like, oh, now these guys are shining. That's NBA spacing that they're playing with, and that's like regular coherent basketball. So for me, college players – college is funny. NCAA is funny, especially a place like Clemson or Penn State where there's not that many good players on the team. There just isn't. This is true for most teams outside of like Kentucky or this or that, where college basketball usually features like 1 really good player, 2 okay guys, and then a bunch of guys that are like pretty limited. And it screws things up. Like how well do those guys read the court? Usually not that great. Hunter Tyson, to me, part of what's exciting about him is when you get to the NBA level, it's way smarter, especially a championship team. And I think he actually shines when smart people are around him because then his smart stuff is rewarded and shines. So that's one of my big takeaways for him is I'm like, you know what? I think he might be one of these guys that actually looks better at the top level than he did at the bottom level because the stuff he does well isn't always rewarded. We got to keep it moving. On the other side, though, we're going to start going through all these guys, and I'm going to share some of my perspective on what I think are their biggest strengths and biggest weaknesses, and you guys can agree or disagree.
Can't wait. Shady Rays, guys, take on the sun with gear built to last.
Look at this.
Shady Rays, man.
The future of this ad read is so bright. I got to wear my Shady Rays.
Shady Rays hooked us up, all of us, with sunglasses here for Vegas. Man, have we needed them.
I can't walk 1 foot without somebody saying, are those Shady Rays?
Yes.
They look incredible.
It's an absolute requirement for Summer League in Vegas. It's a requirement for summer everywhere. Make sure to take on the sun with gear built to last. Our friends at Shady Rays, they've got you covered for the warm weather ahead with premium polarized shades at an affordable price. You can go to shadyrays.com, use the code DNVR, get 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Try for yourself. The shades rated 5 stars by 250,000 people. Just go to shadyrays.com. They've got so many different designs. Just scroll their whole website. They got something for everybody. If you want to check out Shady Rays in person, you can shop their entire collection at their brand new location at Park Meadows Mall in Denver. It's a full-stop shop for all things Shady Rays. If you lose or break your pair of Shady Rays even on day 1, they told us they will send you a brand new pair.
What?
No questions asked.
Dude, I always get the 2-for-1. I wear mine. Look, get out of my life. I don't need your. Don't talk to me about the way I've treated my Shady Rays. I'll replace them as I see fit. I always like to buy the 2-for-1 because I wear them. They look incredible. I get stopped. I keep mentioning this. Keep another pair in my pocket. If somebody shows the
just
slightest,
to whip it out.
If somebody shows the slightest bit of human interest in me, I give them a pair of Shady Rays so you can buy them as a friend.
A true man of the people. ShadyRays.com. Use the code DNVR for 50% off 2+ pairs of polarized sunglasses. Also, of course, we're coming to you from Circa Resort and Casino, where we've been doing the shows all weekend, man. Shout out to Circa. They have absolutely rolled out the red carpet for us. We were down at the sportsbook a couple days ago. Yesterday, we were at the pool doing the show. Today here, we're at the Legacy Club, 60th floor of Circa.
60th?
Top floor.
Tall building, man.
And if you want to play your
I'm scared of heights.
Yeah, if you're interested in seeing us, just hang out at Victory Burger. We'll show up at some point.
We'll probably be at Victory Burger later.
hang out there.
Great burgers. I mean,
Fondue burger.
Dude, I gotta
great
say,
burgers, great salads.
I think it's the fries that I'm like the most
Great
into.
fries.
I feel a little basic in this take, but I don't care.
Yeah. Circa Sports Million and Circa Survivor Pro Football Contest are here. They're live. When you're in Vegas, stop by the Circa Sportsbook for a chance to win the $1 million top prize and quarterly prizes throughout the season for Circa Million, and an $8 million prize for the last entry standing for the Circa Survivor. So a couple other great contests to get in with Circa.
There's a mountain with snow on it. We're so high up, I can see a mountain that has snow on it. We're in Las Vegas. Do you see this?
Hold on.
Look at this mountain with snow on it.
There's no way
that
that's
has
snow.
to be like a
Look at it.
a Vegas creation right there.
Do you see it?
Like
It actually might be snow. You're right. I feel like that
I've
was.
never been this high in Vegas.
But I feel like Harrison. I feel like that was flown in by a sultan. or
yeah,
something
that's like definitely
party.
some like exhibit. Like, come see snow in Las Vegas.
All right. The white party thrown by some imam.
Michael Rubin's party is up there.
Holy
but
crap.
if you're coming out to Vegas, stay at Circa. We can't recommend it enough. If you're out here for Broncos, Raiders, Avs, Golden Knights, the Pac-12 tournament, book your stay with code DNVR20. Get 20% off.
Yep.
DNVR20, 20% off Circa Resort and Casino.
All righty, guys. We're back here. Segment 2. Let's talk about the guys. We're going to start with Jalen Pickett here. Here's the thing on rewatch. Here's the thing on rewatch. Very first play. So he's guarding the power forward in the game. Well out of position. 7 inches height he's giving up. Plus, like, it was a long, rangy guy. Mohamed Gay, I think his name was. Mohamed Gay. Long, rangy guy. He, on the very first 2 plays, and I'll probably post these. I don't know if I'll do a list or something like that, but I'm going to post these plays so you guys can see them. Elite recognition on how to defend multiple actions as a role defender. How many point guards coming out of college know how to play a big position on the fly? Because he guards guard. Like in the first game, he guarded a guard. Second game, they're like, hey, we need you to play power forward. And he knew how to guard pick and roll as a big.
Yeah, I noticed that.
At an elite level. And I'm telling you, I'm going to post both of these, but first one was like show on a ball screen, show on a different guy that was cutting through, recover to show on a second one, switch off and then switch back quickly and communicate. Like I think it was Peyton Watson that he like basically grabs and says like, no, you need to come over here. His team defense and team defensive recognition is at an elite level for a incoming rookie. And I think when Michael Malone hops on the phone or hops on the broadcast and says that we have guys in here that are like NBA ready, what they mean by that is less about the skill set and more about like their IQ. Are they able to read? When I watch that, I go, Michael Malone's going to love this dude because he just understands the nuances and complications of team defense.
Yeah, he's doing that on the defensive end as a guard where he's stepping out onto them, and they look comfortable. They look comfortable with having him there, and also he's seeing it before it happens as a rookie. And that's as the point guard, so you're going to see that on the offensive end when that finally comes to him. And this is just all natural. Like he's staying the court right there with just being a high IQ player, just being able to read what's happening. And you also got to know that he's dumbing it down for his teammates just because it is Summer League, just because it is coming so quickly to him. So, yeah, that is something that just stands out on first watch. We haven't got to the shot, but that also is just so.
That's the next one.
Yeah, that is so beautiful. But, yeah, you have to love that from a smaller guard who's able to hold his own on both ends.
And, Wind, here's the thing I keep thinking about, because if you think about lineups, Christian Brown also had this as an incoming rookie. It's what makes him good, right? Is he has the physical tools to be this that Jalen Pickett doesn't have, but also that he was such a low mistake player for where he was. If you think about how do you build a non-Jokic lineup with the Nuggets that makes sense and can be successful?
Let's get a mini Jokic.
Well, okay, but what really is you need to get stops. You need to be a defensive lineup that doesn't get scored on and then play in transition. Well, he's great in transition as an offensive player, and I think. Well, we're going to get to his weaknesses as a defender because there are some loud ones. As a team defender, he's a really good guy that's not going to make mistakes. And I think that pairs really, really nicely with a Christian Brown and, in theory, a Zeke Naji, a Vlatko Cancar, a Peyton Watson, other guys that you could say, I could see that being a great team defensive lineup.
Yeah. And when you're a young player coming into the league, team defense is a lot of times the toughest thing to master. Yeah. Like, that is the thing that keeps a lot of young guys from just getting on the floor. I mean, think back to, like, Michael Porter Jr.'s team defense when he came into the league as a rookie. Think about a lot of the other young guys that have come through the Nuggets system. That's usually, like, one of the last things that clicks and eventually gets you on the floor. So the fact that Jalen Pickett already has just a great mastery of team defense and defensive principles and just knowing how to move and operate on that end of the floor, that's going to help him get him on the court very, very quickly. Because, like, Michael Malone, he was watching the game yesterday courtside. Like, he will pick up on that stuff, and that will help him trust Jalen Pickett a lot, I think, early in his career.
When you're one pass away, Eric, like you can get, if you are guarding your guy and you go over to one pass away to stunt on the driver, you're leaning towards the ball and then the kick out pass you can't recover in time. He has really good anticipation about, I know, like before the pass gets made and he's a pass away, he's like, this guy, if he drives, I need to jam that spot so I only have one direction. He did that a couple times in this game where I was like, man, that was so perfect. Like he anticipated exactly the angle of the drive so he didn't get beat on the closeout.
Yeah, I actually was picking up on this, like being because I had a pretty good view. We were in the front row. I mean, whatever. But I just saw, he kind of like floated back. A guy came off of the pick and roll. Like you're saying,
jammed it.
He was just sort of like not on a guy, but he was in the right place to switch over. I noticed all of those. I don't know the words. I'm an idiot, but
you just noticed it disrupts.
Yes, I noticed like how he was allowing himself to be. He was like water. He was flowing to where he needed to be. Nobody was getting access to the lane. He was cutting them off. The one thing I hope that we see in this next game, I want to know what it looks like when he is running the offense at that speed that he runs it at. My concern is that there's not dynamic playmakers to go along with him. And so if the play takes so long to set up, even if you get a good establishment in the lane and then you get the kick out and you don't have somebody to knock down the shot, it's all for naught. So I'm like a little. That's the only thing that gives me pause with him is that he has that same sort of and the other thing that I've noticed about him is he's a really, really good communicator. He's
a leader.
He truly is. He's yelling at guys. He's pushing guys. He's he's really in that place that you want him to be. He's total general. Yeah.
You know what he's doing this morning? I don't know if you've been on Twitter. Retweeting Collin Gillespie highlights. I'm not kidding.
That's really That's amazing.
Do you have his Twitter set to alerts?
I might have his Twitter set to
alerts.
alerts.
Just everyone here, go on Twitter and see if any of us have retweeted Adam Mara's tweets.
Definitely not. Definitely not happening. No, but the guy really is like a little floor general out there on those kind of things. And obviously, I'm not going to say no concerns about the part that you just stressed, but I have almost no concerns with him because we have seen it again in pockets, usually at the end of game, which is the only chance.
When he becomes a scorer,
they're shooters.
Yeah, but I'm saying in the construct of the actual Nuggets, will that be viable? Are there enough shooters on our second unit that can support such a unique style of play? I don't know. If the answer is yes.
You know what's funny? I think his style of play is less unique too. He's a pick and roll player. He's a pick and roll player.
He's a hooper. He's a hooper.
It's the speed at which he plays, which is wholly unique. I don't think I've ever seen it before outside of Andre Miller. I don't know.
And
am I the
Nikola
first
Jokic.
No, honestly, Kyle Lowry, I think, is actually an interesting comp too because Kyle Lowry plays at that speed as well and is very effective with it. Also, he plays his own version of booty ball, the biggest ass in all the NBA. Honestly, that's what we talk about, right? And it's like a real weapon to him because of it, because he has extra ability to hit you.
It's a crazy weapon.
Male form quarter has returned.
We got to keep it moving because I want to get to all of these guys. The other part, you mentioned it, Dev. The shooting looks great, and here's what I think: when guys shoot first, they're considered good shooters. And when they shoot second, they're like, I don't know if he's a good shooter. He shot 38% last year from three on 3.5 a game. But guess what? He almost never takes it as the first option. It's almost always the second, third, or fourth option to him. And I think that's why he gets the label. But we've seen him in both games now look extremely comfortable taking the threes when they've presented themselves to him.
I want to give him credit because it's something that he it looks like he's working on. The shot looks it's a perfect shot. I think it's going in every single time. And he looks like he's being aggressive on getting the shot. What's different about him is he's creating the shot for himself off of the pick and roll. So he's going to be able to have those nights where even if it's contested, he forms enough space where he could get the shot off himself. But also, you don't have to rely on him running a play for him to get it going. Right. He's doing step backs. He's doing, in your grill. And that's just things that he's working on himself. So it is great to just see how good of a shooter he really is.
Yeah.
And that's something that he's going to be able to do, especially if he's playing off ball, because we're seeing it right now that he can play off ball. And if he's just going to just knock it down like that with all of the attention that another guard is going to get at the NBA level and the spacing that he's going to be able to create, if he can consistently get that, that's just going to open up the floor even more for him.
What do you think of the shot?
It looks great. I don't have any complaints about it. Looks good from two. Looks good off the dribble.
I'm glad you brought that up.
I actually love the mid-range.
Looks good from three.
Yeah.
He's been ridiculously consistent through 2 games. I'm looking at the box scores now.
2 of 4 and 2 of 3?
5 baskets in both games. 2 threes in both games. 5 assists in both games.
Yeah. So we've seen the official game.
That's consistent.
This is what you can. Yeah, that is what a game from.
This is
Jalen
what you
Pickett
should
looks
expect
like.
from Jalen Pickett at Summer League.
I bet you he has a game that's significantly above those numbers because I think they're going to let him play I honestly think, because even talking to coaches and stuff yesterday, I think you even got a sense of like, all right, we might have to mix up this rotation because we want to see these guys do. I actually think Denver's going to play differently in Game 3 than they have in Game 1.
Yeah, real fast. That's
I mean, they're 0-2, so they should probably mix something up.
Well, I was just gonna say that with Grant Golden not playing, so they could get a different look at other guys on the team. Do you think that they do that with the guys they already have, just to see if we sit Collin for one game? Collin and Julian, and just see how they work, the other two work. Or we're going to sit Peyton and, Collin for this game and just see how that would. Do you think that's something that they'll, employ just to see if they could do it later?
I would be surprised if they just full out sat one of those guys. Like, they sat Grant Golden because I think they know what they have in Grant Golden, and they just wanted to see Amir Sims play those minutes and get a look at him.
He did good, too, Amir Sims.
He did.
Yeah,
intriguing. But I think the right move would be to just split those guys up.
I agree.
Not just bench one for an entire game, but just start one of them and bring the other one off the bench and have them play opposite of each other exclusively.
I wouldn't be surprised, though, if Peyton sat the last game, just because it's pretty common the last game that you sit some main guys.
You're like, let's give this guy who joined our summer league team but has played 0 minutes some playing time.
And I also do think there's one player that I wouldn't be surprised if they didn't play in Game 3 or 4, and that's Ishmael Kamagate. Not for any reason. I mean, he's going back to Europe next year, so there's part of this is like we're not in a rush anyway. But as also, I do think there's something to Kamagate, Golden, and Sims are 3 very different bigs, and I think part of yesterday was let's see what it looks like with a more defensive-minded. But Grant Golden, great offensive player. Sims, a better defensive player, and I just think it's like, hey, let's give different looks, different types of bigs to see how that affects the game. Last thing I have on pickup for the positives is he really does bully everyone, and he bullied Manic. Manic is like bigger, like, I don't know, 6'8", 250, 260, and he had the play where he got to the rim. He actually missed the shot. He just missed it. He just smoked it. But he bumps him off the block.
Dude.
And that's a big dude.
I mean, booty ball is powerful. Like, there's a lot behind it.
He really is a strong player.
Yeah.
But when we talk about his defense, so I'm very high on him as a team defender. Perhaps my biggest concern, when teams ISO him, his physical tools really come out. There's 2 times when his size really is noticeable. One is on ISO, and somebody got an and one ISO where they kind of walked to the restricted area, shot it, and he got a touch foul. And I think that you think about, like, at the NBA level, there are good point guards off the bench who are just good ISO players. And I wonder how he'll be as an ISO defender. That might be the Achilles heel of him in some playoff match. It won't be every one, but, you run into a Jamal Crawford type, and it's like, oh, man, that's the one thing he can't guard.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
And so I worry about that. And then the second part is you notice on closeouts, he rotates so well, he's quick, he plays hard, but sometimes he gets a hand up, and if it's like a 6'8", 6'9" shooter, it has almost no impact. It's like Michael Porter shoots over guys closing him out. Everybody's Michael Porter's size compared to him when he's closing out. So those are the 2 things defensively that I think I'm so high on his skill set. I think he's a backup point guard in the NBA at his ceiling, and that's why.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you even saw it last night. I mean, guys can just get to a spot and rise up and fire over him. Yeah. And, I mean, nothing you can really do about that.
No.
How concerning is it to you, though, D-Line?
I don't – at this exact moment in time, I'm having a hard time envisioning him as an NBA player. Like,
really?
I don't think – I mean, that's not to say that I don't think he can play in the NBA. I just am having a hard time envisioning his game on the NBA context, in the NBA context. So I don't, like, really feel like I can say anything definitive. I just have to see it. It's just, like, so unique. There's so many things that are, like – I don't know of any. I mean, there's like weird amalgamation comps we can make, and there are things that he does well that feel similar to other guys. But I just have to see it. I don't quite get it yet. You know what I mean? I know some people are. I think most people are just interested. Plus, I always tell people, like super interested.
I also tell people, like, I don't hedge my takes for people. Or I don't like give them to like appease or like how people want to hear the excitement. Like, no, man, I like this guy and I'm very confident that he's going to work out, and I'm just going to talk about him like I think about him.
Sure.
Dev, how about the size part?
In the nude?
And the size part, though, like, how big of a concern is that for you?
I don't think that it's as big of like it doesn't worry me as much because he's made it to this level at that, and also he works hard enough and he's smart enough to like make it work in different ways. Also, he's young in the sense of he does not have NBA experience yet, but he's gonna learn things. Like he's not actually young, but he's gonna learn things, on the fly. True. He's gonna learn. People are gonna put him in better situations, and he just picks it up so quickly that it's like, oh, okay, that's a tool that I could use. That's something that makes it a little bit easier for me. So I do think that he has a long way to go, but also I think that it's gonna be faster for him than other people.
I think that's the one thing that I can really point to is that he's he's very poised, and he's obviously very cerebral in the way that he plays. Like anybody that plays at his speed would have to be. He's sort of like looking for things that other people aren't seeing and looking for things to unfold. I feel like this is not in any way too big for him. I mean, Summer League, but it is too big for some people. And he just looks like a guy that he doesn't look very flappable. So I like all of that stuff. I have to see it, man. I just got to see it,
All right, to wrap up, and then we'll take a break. Basketball IQ and all-around skill to me are his number one trait. Just feel for the game. Yeah. That's his number one trait. His weakness, size, and one-on-one defense. So if I were to say it, I feel confident saying those are going to be true in every game, and maybe the scales, of what's more influential on the outcome will move, but that's it. All right, let's take a break. On the other side, we're going to get to Peyton Watson and Julian. I can't wait to talk about Julian Strawther. This is the first time I feel like I have takes about Julian Strawther. Excited for it.
Guys, if you need tickets to concert shows, sporting events, make sure to check out the Game Time app. Buying tickets to your favorite event should not be stressful. Game Time is the fast and easy way to buy tickets for all the sports, music, comedy, theater near you with killer deals on last-minute tickets and their best price guarantee. You can stop stressing over the tickets and getting hyped for all the fun that you'll have. Make sure to download the Game Time app, create an account, use the code DNVR for $20 off your first purchase. Terms do apply. Terms apply.
Oh, my God. You thought you were going to get away without terms applying?
Terms do apply.
Who do you think you are?
But again, create an account. Redeem code DNVR for $20 off. Download Game Time today. Last-minute tickets, lowest prices guaranteed. Concert, shows, sporting events, Summer League, Nuggets, Broncos, Avs, Rockies, whatever you need. Game Time has you covered. Make sure to download the app. Create an account. Use code DNVR. $20 off your first purchase with Game Time. Also, make sure to check out Breckenridge Brewery, the official beer of DNVR. It is the summer. Make sure you got some Mountain Beach Sours chilling in your fridge.
I'm going to have some chilling in my old belly here in a little bit.
Check out all our favorites from Breck Brew, of course, the Mountain Beach Sour, Avalanche Amber, Vanilla Porter Jr., Juice Drop IPA. They got good company hard seltzers as well. Something for everybody at Breckenridge Brewery. If you don't know where to get Breck Brew, go to their website, breckbrew.com. Check out the Breck Brew beer locator. Tells you where to get Breckenridge Brewery no matter where you are. Just type in your zip code. It'll bring up a whole list of stores you can go to buy Breck Brew. Breck Brew, the official beer of DNVR. Make sure to check out the Mountain Beach Sour.
All right, we're back. All right, let's get in real quick. I want to just do Ishmael Kamagate because we gotta be a little bit quicker on some of these guys here. Best skill, and he actually has a skill that I think is really good. It's his shot blocking as a help side defender. He blocks some shots where he really covers ground, gets up, and is athletic. And I think that when you talk about a prospect, I'm sure that's why they drafted him, is you're like, man, this guy has that weak side mobility and timing and everything to do that. It hasn't shined as much as maybe you would like, although he has had some blocks in each of the games. He does roam a little bit too much. There was one play where he overhelped, and they didn't get punished because it's summer league and guys don't know how to make skip passes. But he doubled where he was clearly not supposed to be the guy, and something else happened on the play that didn't involve him. So shot blocking to me, the strength. The weakness, rebounding. Man, he got murdered on the boards for a guy that has no reason to be murdered on the boards. And then second, just feel for the game in general. He's really raw still.
Just enjoyed a plate full of buttery croissants right before the game. Could not hang on to the basketball, sliding right out of his fingers.
If Ismail Kamagate is going to become an NBA player, he needs to get mean. He needs to get tough, and physical. He's too nice out there, man. He's got to get nasty.
By the way, I'm back. I'm not out on Wembanyama. I'm not in. I've not actually seen him play well yet. Apparently he played pretty well, but he and Kamagate, coming from the same league, it's just like the most polite league in the world. Like,
Well, you know who was also in that league?
everyone's like, "Oh, may I have this rebound?"
Who was also in that league? Amir Sims. And the word on Amir Sims
was that
is
he just bullied the hell out of him.
he was the only guy who shut down Victor Wembanyama at all last year in the French
Then
league.
I can imagine you could just go in and
He's
just
got
be a
some
jerk.
nasty to him.
Okay.
But yeah, because he is so aggressive. But the thing with Kamagate is, first off, he's just not as, he doesn't play the way that he's supposed to play. He's supposed to be a mobile big, 6'11", that, he's so big that he uses his size. We haven't been seeing that, and it's just because he is so raw. I just feel like he's kind of lost out there, but he knows how to move his feet. He knows where to be. He knows how to get to those spots. He just doesn't have the mechanics to grab a rebound or to just box a guy out and use his size and, move him out of the way. Once he becomes aggressive, that's when you're going to see, doors open for him. But you take a flyer. You take a chance on that because if it does hit eventually, that's going to change it. I do hope that they move him leagues this year where he gets to go around guys that are going to be more aggressive.
He's playing in Italy next year.
No, put him in Serbia, man. Put him next to Dante Exum on Partizan.
Yeah, get him in the derby.
Yeah, but really, you want him to be around other guys that they're banging all practice.
Well,
Now he's going to go from eating croissants to eating pasta.
Yeah, but it's not physical with him. I really think that it's just raw and mental, and
you're right.
he'll be able to be a little bit more aggressive, and that's where it'll go.
Guess where Sims is from?
oh no.
Jersey.
Yeah,
So he goes to the France league and is like, these guys don't.
teammates with Hunter Tyson
my
at Clemson too.
Have you guys seen that Norm Macdonald SNL sketch where it's like Christian trivia, but they get the answer first and then they all confess whether they knew it or not? And he's learned the loophole. You just lie. That's like Sims. He goes to France and he's like, the loophole. You just push these guys and they think it's wrong.
I'm telling you, this is like what it's like when guys from the East Coast move to Colorado and they're like, everyone's just nice, so you can just take whatever you want. That's unbelievable. And we're like, well.
So anyway, Kamagate, that's the wrap on him. Let's get to Peyton Watson. For me, defensive playmaking, and I phrase it this way because I want to say defense, but I don't think it is. I think it's defensive playmaking. He makes big-time defensive plays. He just doesn't always play great defense all around. So defensive playmaking to me. And then I think, I don't know what I would say here, fundamentals, I think would be the weakness, or just he's just so raw. And what I mean by that is I have a clip. I have a sequence of 4 plays, I believe, in a row. On one, he makes an unbelievable pick and roll, shows the ball to get the defender up, gets around and gets a layup. Next play, similar, almost identical sequence, gets the ball, dribbles, jump stops 8 feet in the air, and shoots a air ball that goes 4 feet too long. And you think, how did you just make the most fundamentally sound show and go for a layup? And on the next play, you airball because your footwork was so terrible. And then on the very next play, step back jumper drains it. And you're just like, man, great footwork, great play, terrible footwork, horrible play, great footwork. He's just so inconsistent with his fundamentals right now.
Yeah, he needs to get back to the basics. And I think that right now he's trying to showcase too many different things all at the same time. Because he's a guy full of flash.
Yeah.
And it's because it's athleticism where he stands out most. He's an athletic defender. I don't think he's just like a lockdown defender, but he has the mechanics where he moves really well. He could stop somebody point of attack. He has the size. But now if he gets back to the basics of learning, basketball in different ways, or how to adjust to the NBA speed and using his size and things like that, he's going to be great. I think that he's going to be a very, very good NBA player, but right now he isn't because he just is going off of only athleticism. So I'm excited to see him with another year of having to learn the NBA speed and adjustments and things of that nature. But I just feel like they wanted it to be done right now and fast and quicker. And even if you look at Aaron Gordon, when they interviewed him after the game, he said that he was there for Peyton Watson.
Right. Yeah.
The other guys,
that's their little brother.
Yeah, that's their brother. He's been with them for a year, and then they see those flashes in what he can be. But he just has to. I feel like it just takes more time of just learning it and the small things that's going to make him a great player.
And I'm gonna say, because it also is defensive fundamentals too that wax and wane with him. And Harrison, if you're playing basketball and you're trying to work on a new move, the first layer is the footwork so you can recognize when the player does this, how do I get, right foot forward, how do I attack it, how do I set it up, and then you're going slow. It's almost like a ballet. You're just working on the footwork, and then you're trying to do it at full speed, and then the last step is recognizing in real time, so you're not thinking of it. It's like your body is an extension of your mind. So Peyton, to me, is in the phase right now where he's probably in between where he still needs to learn some of the footwork, but also it's not firing fast enough. There was a pick and roll where he caught it with the wrong foot. So when a guy iced the double high pick and roll, he was supposed to use it, and instead he rejected it, but rejected it in a way that didn't create separation because he was on poor footwork. So it's stuff like that where those are decisions that happen in milliseconds, but when it's second nature, you don't think about it. It just happens. It's a feel. You just naturally know it. That's where he's at right now. He's not feeling the little details that will unlock his offensive game, in my opinion.
Yeah. His highs are so high, and you watch those, and you're like, oh, this guy's going to easily be in the rotation. He can easily play 10, 15 minutes a game next season. Right. He could definitely play the Christian Braun role. That's what you think about when you see his highs, the great defensive plays he makes in transition, some of his drives to the rim and attacking bigs and getting to the line. And then he has some lows, and you're like, oh, I can definitely see why Michael Malone would not trust this guy next season. And so I think for him, it's just about being more steady and more consistent and bringing just the effort and execution every single play. I think he's shown some really good flashes, and I definitely see him. I see the future. I see the type of impact he can make next season.
Yep.
He's just got to be consistent. He's got to be more consistent and bring just a steadier approach night to night if he wants to play, a similar role to what Christian Braun did last year.
And Eric, to me, it's body control because he has moments of body control that are so impressive. The play I'm thinking about from yesterday, he's driving with his left hand, and he kind of shoots across his body, so the defender kind of passes him, and he just lays it in. And that's a tough, driving left, stopping, and shooting right, so your momentum's going two directions, is hard to do, and he made it look so effortless. And you think, that's elite body control. But then he had another play where he just traveled, caught the ball and just walked.
That's poor basketball control. Yeah. With me, I still don't know what he's good at on offense. I don't know what his what I can look to be oh, that's going to be his calling card, other than him just being super athletic and him being able to finish and him being able to sort of I just don't think he's ever going to be a focal point of your offense. There's just no way, because he's got a shot sort of, but it's kind of like when Aaron Gordon has an open three. It's you don't want him to shoot it. Sometimes it works out. I think Peyton Watson's kind of the same thing. I have a hard time imagining us ever being able to feel really comfortable with any shot of his other than something at the rim. But I do know that he did play in the NBA last year, and he played really just defensively. He played a lot of help side. He came in, helped block shots, things like that.
That's the part that's ready to go his motor.
And I just
kind of
think that will be his role in the NBA, and he's going to get more and more. I can't imagine him being that much of a point of attack defender. He'll probably be on a wing or something, guys that don't necessarily create their own shot anyway. His is going to be where he's sagging in, he's around the rim. Again, he's doing help side stuff. He's rotating. He's just helping to kind of lock down the area around the rim, which even just his presence is enough. This is just Summer League is silly for a player like him. It's just because it just puts him in weird positions where you're
to explore his game.
Yeah, dude. It's the Zeke Naji thing last year, but this is way less pronounced than that. But it's situations where you're there's Peyton Watson's never going to break a guy down doing 3 or 4 crossovers when Jokic is on the court or something. You know what I mean? It's just but I just think more than anything for him, it's just getting confidence, more and more reps, being, not feeling like he wants to show out every time he's on a basketball court. He's confident and secure in his position on the team, and then he can just really focus on the stuff that he's good at. Summer League, worst place for him in that way. Just the worst. I mean, he's looked great. Like you say, flashes very high. Thinking plays, not great. Shooting, okay. And then he does have a tendency in these 2 games, or has shown a tendency to sort of press in a way that was like he's pressing to impress.
Yeah.
Like he wants to flat. He's like, I got to do something. I haven't done anything in a while.
Yeah.
So it's like I'm already in on. I wouldn't mind if they just shut him down and took him out. Like I know that he is capable and will actually excel at the next level doing glue guy stuff. Which is this is not a glue guy league.
I hope they do not shut him down because really the only way that he's going to get better is with reps. Like that's the only way.
This is like Zeke Najee had 3 games and he's like, oh, we
But
got to get him another one.
Zeke Najee doesn't have it in him though. Peyton does.
Yeah.
I don't know if he doesn't have it in him.
Well, Zeke?
Yeah, I don't know if he does.
You think Zeke has shot creation in him?
He has shot creation and then he can make shots, but no.
Yeah, that's shot finishing.
I don't think that that
Peyton?
PWAT has like real NBA level shot creation.
I think there's a possibility for him
It's
too, like a real
possible,
possible.
but I
he
mean-
doesn't have it right now. But there are, like I said, man, there's some plays, like even that step back jumper looks so smooth, and you go, man, is this guy a smooth pull up jump shooter? And the answer is no.
he a
But it is
smooth
in him.
operator?
Like he has to refine the footwork so
Yeah.
that it's second
Right.
nature.
But even if he gets those reps of just like defending different type of young players, like there's
Right.
going to be like fast guards, there's going to be stronger guards, there's going to there's different types of things. Like he's going to get those reps that he was not getting because he wasn't playing in the G League last year. He's not going to get them from just practicing with the Nuggets squad right now. So I do think that like he needs this right now, especially as the guy, and then also as the best defender, and just trying to see those type
I'll
of
buy
things.
in
So
on that, yeah.
I do want him to just continue to grow and just get as much time in as he can.
Yeah. All right, we got to keep it along. Let's take our last break. On the other side, Strawther, Gillespie, Tyson. We'll see if we can't get through all of them. Maybe we'll just get through Strawther and Tyson.
I bet we can get through him.
Okay.
Kind Love was one of the first dispensaries in Colorado,
here it
established
comes,
in
baby.
2010.
Tell
known
me about
for
that
cultivating
sweet Keith.
some of the highest quality cannabis in the state. You guys know about the Turbo Joint. 0.7 grams of whole bud combined with 0.3 grams of Turbo Keef.
Yeah, Turbo Keith.
Ridiculously potent, burns significantly smoother than other infused pre-rolls on the market. It's not going to melt or be messy in your car this summer. It burns slower and is so much more flavorful too. You can get the Turbo Joint with Turbo Keef at Kind Love. Visit one of their stores in Cherry Creek or North Denver. Mention DNVR. Get the DNVR exclusive discount, 25% off all Kind Love flower, pre-rolls, and their Turbo Joint line. Visit their website, kindlove.com. Browse their extensive menu. You can order online as well. You can also pop into their store in Cherry Creek or North Denver. Again, mention DNVR. Get the DNVR exclusive discount, 25% off all Kind Love flower, pre-rolls, and their Turbo Joint line. Also, shout out Illegal Pete's. This episode of the DNVR Nuggets Podcast brought to you by Illegal Pete's. It's your go-to spot this summer. You ready for the longest happy hour around? 3 to 8 p.m. every single day at all 12 Illegal Pete's locations. An incredible deal, an incredible happy hour. Stop by after work, enjoy a few extra margs on the patio at their happy hour prices. There's no better way to kick off your summer.
Start off with a little Turbo Keith.
Oh,
Head on over
man.
to the old patio at Illegal Pete's. Pick up the official DNVR Illegal Pete's crossover shirt.
Yeah, that will be a legendary shirt. I mean, when you think back on the playoffs, I'll think back to that shirt.
The 2003 Avalanche playoff shirt. Not as iconic to what I made. Less iconic.
Illegal Pete's, 3 to 8 p.m. happy hour every single day at all 12 Illegal Pete's locations.
Alrighty, final segment here, and we got to give the people what they want. You know what they want, guys? Hunter Tyson hype. They want to hear about the menace from Monroe.
You know
the
who I
Monroe
want?
menace.
You know what I am?
Hunt.
The people. I want it too, man.
What'd you say?
Hunt.
Hunt. Oh, yeah, Hunt. Hunter.
They call me Hunt.
I'm going to go ahead and start off with his strengths here. And here's what's funny, man. He had the most, besides Pickett, I think he had the most like things I could stack here and the hardest to do the negatives for. I'm going to say I settled on shooting. I think shooting might be his best skill, but you could Shooting, we just have everything we say. It's like Marcus Howard. Now we're just everything we talk about him, we have to do it in country. Yeah, shooting. I'd say he's a good shooter.
Just going shooting.
At least he's actually from the country. Marcus Howard. We don't even know if he's been to Boston.
Off-ball reads, I think, is another part, because part of shooting is can you get open, because you know the spacing. I think his off-ball reads are really well. And then his motor, man, his motor probably comes in third, but it stood out too. The guy just plays hard. All three of those things to me have stood out. The surprise, though, Dev, his handle, man, he had a couple nice drives in this one, and I don't think he has a dynamic handle, but he has a straight line drive that when we talk about off-ball reads, well, if they overplay you, can you just punish them? And I think he can.
He's just a shocker for me, like in every way. In this one, he showed that he's able to just be in the background and just work hard off the ball. And then they finally were like, hey, Hunter, you need to shoot the ball. And he's like, oh, okay, then I'm going to be aggressive. And then he goes and scores. He goes and puts the ball on the ground. But he's showing that he can be a complete player, and he doesn't need to shoot the ball every time, or he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands, but he can make that happen. And you talked about it earlier. He is going to be better when other good players are around him, because you're not expecting those things from him, because he has a polished game. He is an older guy that, plays mature. He really is as balanced as you can get as a player right now, and he's only going to get better. So it was great to see that he can shoot the ball, which we already seen. He competes on both ends of the floor. Trash talker, love it, confident, and then also he can dribble. So he's just really balanced.
I don't even know if it's trash talk. He just hypes himself.
He does.
He's an emotion-driven player.
Yeah,
he plays with emotion.
He's a trash talker
and
like
passion.
Yeah, he's a trash talker like me and Adam on those blackjack tables last night.
Oh man, we were talking
we're
trash.
Give it to me. We weren't trash talking the
dealer.
No,
she was lovely.
We were in cahoots.
Lovely dealer. Wouldn't you say lovely?
I would say.
He also you tap your head or three or this or that. I feel like all of those things he does so hard that he's going to hurt himself.
It's because
when you do this, but he hits himself.
He just blacks out.
He really does.
He blacks out during the game, and he just he's out of control.
He is like a football fan or something, where you're like,
he's just
calm
going
down.
crazy. Man.
I love this dude's energy. People need to watch him close up, because when I watch these on TV, you see him celebrate, but it kind of just seems like normal. When you see him in person, he's like,
he hits
funny.
a layup and then just smacks his head against the stanchion.
Yeah,
he's a lunatic. I love it. I love this dude.
He's possessed.
I really actually love him a lot. Also, he's fantastic. I love his confidence. I just again, I had no expectation. The shocker. I had no expectations for him in any way. I was like, oh, we got a third guy.
We got Tyler Light and Sweet.
Or whatever.
I
didn't.
nope.
I didn't think one way or the other. And then he's just been such a goddamn revelation. And I love. He's like that. He has that white guy haircut where he doesn't care what happens to it.
Oh man, his hair is out of control. Yeah,
I like that. I like that you just kind of you can see how his game is going based on how crazy his hair has gotten.
Yeah,
you're right. Actually, this is such a
he definitely gets his hair cut. He definitely gets his hair cut at Great Clips.
Oh, totally. They're what do you want? He's like the boys cut.
Yeah,
just
I don't know, a little bit off the sides.
Or no. He's just cut it in a shape, and then I'll let my day
determine what it is.
What it is.
He just never cared about his hair before.
No, never once. I love that about him. He's great.
Defensive foot speed. So I think defensively, he switched out onto Buffkin, who was lightning quick. By the way, a little too much love for Buffkin on the timeline. The guy was 6 of 19.
Go Buffkin.
He made him
but he's a bucket.
But he's a bucket. He made him a couple in a row with crazy shake shots, and they were sexy. But he also he had so many bad shots.
Yeah, his high was high. That's what it was. His high was high.
That's how a summer league game works. If you do something good, you flash, and then everything else falls by the wayside. It doesn't matter.
But just do something good in the first minute.
Get a flash and then do whatever
Hold
you
on,
want after
real
that.
quick on the flash. So we didn't talk about it with Peyton Watson, but he eliminated AJ Griffin completely.
Yeah.
That he wasn't a standout. It had to go to Buffkin. So that is a solid thing that I just want to add there.
Yeah, that's a great point. But Hunter also guarded him twice in a row, basically Buffkin, quick guard, and he did a great job. Got contested him really well. I think one he actually tipped or blocked, and then the other one he just made him shoot a brick that didn't even hit the rim. So he's been better defensively than I expected. The one thing I'll say, open court defense, he's been cooked like 4 or 5 times in this when he's like on a fast break, because I do think there's a limitation to his foot speed, and that was what I put as his weakness. I don't know if he'll ever be an elite defender because of it, but I do think, similar to Pickett, I think he can be a very good team defender, but he might get ISO'd against like quicker players. To move on now, we got to go to Strawther. I'm excited to talk about him. So Strawther hasn't made shots in this. And that's the easiest binary thing when you're a shooter. Like if he would have made 4, 5, 6 more threes between the 2 games, we might be talking about him as a good player. The one thing I will say, and I said it earlier, the block at the rim, by the way, was a fantastic block. Laid himself out. I think he made a conscious decision tonight to try to just make hustle play. I mean, he knocked himself out nearly, like hitting his head on the ground. I think he made a conscious decision to try to be a good hustle player, and he succeeded in that. I wish he made more shots. The one thing I'll say is he looks really tall. When I talk about guys that are on site, Strawther's tall. He really is 6'7". And that's the appeal.
Did you stare him down?
I sized him up, dude.
Okay.
Dan stared him down.
There
both.
you have it. 6'7".
He really is tall and long. And the appeal is that he's going to be long enough to guard 2s. Well, what's happening right now? He's guarding 3s, and he's just a normal size 3. And I really do want to see what he looks like at the 2. Is he quick enough? And you know how does Denver start to rebound well? Because he's a good rebounder, but he hasn't been in this. So I feel like he is the guy who we are least going to get a good sense of how good or bad he can be because of that. And it's unfortunate, but I at least really appreciated the effort he gave into game 2, because I feel like that's the one thing when things aren't going well for you, it's like, well, at least I can hustle.
I do love the that he adds different parts of his game, because other guys, they go 1 of 9 from 3, and they're known as a shooter. They hang their head. He does not. He's still going to shoot. He has that confidence every single time, and he's kind of like MPJ. Like, whenever he shoots it, I think that it's going in because it looks so beautiful, and he's going to stay aggressive throughout the entire game. But also, he is going to try. He is an effort guy, at least right now. I don't know if he's just trying to show it for Summer League, but he's, getting the extra pass when he can. He's, hurting himself. He was ready to continue to play with blood gushing down his face.
Right.
Because he's like, I'm in this. And you don't see that from a shooter. They would have called a timeout. I'm done. I don't want to play right now. But he's just like, hey, I'm ready to compete the entire time. So those are like small intangibles that you don't have to teach those things. He was ready to still compete the entire time, and I love that from him.
I feel like in every summer league we talk about how smaller guys are having to play up a position.
So true.
There's just never enough big
like,
guys.
What was the thought on the construction of this team? They're
Yeah,
like,
well, we just didn't have any bigs.
We just asked some guys.
That's why I feel like we need a pool of players 6'8" and above that everybody just gets one of them for their team.
I think so. Like they're like golf clubs you rent at the course.
Exactly. Yeah.
You just show up to summer league.
There's a pool of
Here's
20 big men that just come from all over the world and descend on Las Vegas, and then before each game you just get to pick 1 or 2 for your team. So everybody can play in the correct position.
I'm gonna take one with the last name ends IC.
Yeah. Then Julian Strawther could play the 2 if that was the case.
Right. I think you're right.
So I mean, hopefully he makes some shots. This is a good test for a shooter, though. Like, confidence is a lot of shooting, and he's an extremely confident guy. Sucked from shooting so far. In this.
I know. So, that's the thing. Like,
but it's a good test because real shooters, they don't get discouraged after 2 bad games.
Like, real shooters miss. That's what they do.
Everybody makes it misses in different rhythm. But I am curious to see if he can have 2 bad games in a row and then just be on fire one game, and it would mean a lot.
We need this. Julian Strawther, I know you're watching.
But I also hope he gets to play the 2. I mean, one of the things, like if I can construct the starting lineup for game 2, Strawther would be the 2. You'd have one of the point guards on the court, and Strawther would guard the 2. And then you could put Peyton on the 3 and maybe Hunter at the 4, because I want to see him play with the good players. Hunter hasn't got to play with the good players.
No,
he's played the least amount with the good players.
The coaching staff's freezing him out. I will say, like, we did the little heat index after each game, and Strawther was one we kind of like went back and forth on.
He hustled. I appreciate it.
It is difficult. You feel bad about giving a guy a lower than grade when, yes, he was like very engaged, smashed his own face into the ground going after a loose ball.
Yeah, dude, most guys aren't playing through. I wouldn't play through.
I wouldn't, dude.
If
I was barely watching through.
I'd be done.
If he's a millisecond later, if he's a millisecond later on that block at the rim, he is number 1 on SportsCenter for getting tomahawk poster. But instead,
he would have gotten worse than blue balls from us.
but instead, he still went for it, got the block, and it was the best play of the entire game.
I love how hard he is competing. It is just awful to watch the shot not go down for a shooter because then you're like, okay.
Hey, he was a +5 yesterday.
I can't wait to see like what it looks like when he goes through like just knocking down everything. Like when he just gets
That'd be a beautiful thing.
like
I
his
predict
heat
it.
stroke.
Game 3. I think Game 3 is a Strawther
Who are they
game.
playing in Game 3?
I should have probably looked at that before I made a
I don't think
bold
it matters.
proclamation.
What I've seen, he is open every single time. He just seems like he's just not making the shots, and he's going to continue to shoot. So when he starts making them, I think that's going to be just a high.
Collin Gillespie's the last one. We'll go quickly here. Strength, clearly pull-up shooting. He started making them yesterday. He hit them in different ways, going left, going right, off the dribble. He 5 threes in the game, clearly a strength of his.
Yep.
To me, size and burst are easily like if you're going to be small, you either need to be really strong, a la Pickett, right? Like he gets to a spot through strength, or you got to have burst or something. And he doesn't really have either of those. I mean, he is a bigger guy that he doesn't get pushed around, but he doesn't necessarily. He had a post up the other day, like an ISO post up, and he didn't move it anywhere. He kept backing down and not moving the guy, and it's like. That's the thing to me. Like, can he finish at the rim? Can he even get to the rim? And then I think that he is a guy that remind me. Think about how bad Jamal was. He missed a year and it took 20 games. Well, Collin Gillespie's 2 games into his recovery, and I think that he has looked like a really bad passer or playmaker, and that's not at all his MO. So I think we have to cut Collin Gillespie a lot of slack all summer league because I just think it's like, what did Jamal look like early on? His timing is like he had a lob pass that was horrible. He had a skip pass that was intercepted by a guy that didn't move. He's had some bad playmaking, but we saw last year he's a good playmaker.
Yeah, we also saw that he knocked down 5 threes in the game. Yeah. Like his shot was going, and he was generating offense. It was just the touch. For whatever reason, it was off. And he is coming back from an injury. Maybe that has something to do with it. But, yeah, if he doesn't have those turnovers, I don't think that this is a bad game from him at all. I feel like he competed. I feel like he got guys.
He gave him a red ball.
He got guys in their set where they were supposed to be. And he just has to just work on those little things, and I think that just changes things. But I love the fact that he's able to guard bigger. He's able to guard small guards. He's able to just compete. I love that.
Yeah, the thing I like the most is that he had a really bad game in the first game. He came out right away and just like
he took a tough 3 and made it.
And it was like, okay, cool. I like this guy. He's a competitor. He's not just like, woe is me.
He is a Philadelphia point guard. Like he's like an East Coast. Like he has a toughness to him.
Yeah, man. And it's not that he has burst, but he like kind of comes in with speed and momentum every time that he has the ball. He's always putting pressure on the point of attack right away, like always. And then if that's not there, then he'll like look to kick it out. He got blocked at the rim a lot in both games.
Well, he also worse, man. He got blocked at the rim in the first quarter. Then he passed up a wide open layup because it was in his head, which is worse. You like blocked yourself.
Yeah, it's true. So there are some things, but that like he's looking to make tracks towards the rim. At least that has been the MO thus far. Is like put pressure on it, and then something can come from that. But like, I don't think he always kind of knows what his plan is. He's like, I guess I'm in deep. I got to shoot it, and just gets erased. So I don't know. But overall, like I like the rebound that he showed between game 1 and game 2. I still have hope for him. Like that's a story that I want to believe in. I like the idea that he's undrafted, that the front office believed enough in him, that even though he got
that is a good
horrific
story.
injury, that he's able to, they stick by him, and that the front office is rewarded by it because it's like honestly like a good guy thing that they did. So I hope that it works out.
Well, that does it. We went a little bit long today.
Sorry.
We apologize for giving you too much content today. Too much Nuggets conversation. We do have one more day in Vegas. We are going to be back tomorrow. We might have a guest or two. We're going to be heading down to the arena, get some interviews, including I think we're going to have this for tomorrow. Marco, is it Baric? Do you know how to say his last name? I think it's Marco Baric. He's the head coach of Mega Lex. So he's going to have, or Mega, I don't think it's Mega Lex anymore, Mega Basket. He should have some interesting things to say about Nikola and the impact Nikola has had on Serbian basketball.
And he's on the Nuggets Summer League coaching staff.
And we
We're
love
just the connection here.
He's got a lot to answer for.
Well, yeah. We just grill
We're
him
like,
about
So you're 0-3 at Summer League.
We're not letting you off the
Are
hook.
you feeling the heat yet? Is your job
Hopefully,
on
he
the
just
line?
blames another coach. That's not me. That's Beckett.
But I do think he will have a really good perspective, like a foreign guy's perspective on. He's basically the Summer League is like Mega, right? It's young player, young prospect. So I just think he's going to have a great perspective on this team, as well as, of course, Jokic. And we always love hearing new backstories about Jokic and his time before he was the 2-time MVP. So I look forward to that. Everybody, thanks for hanging with us here at Circa.
Let's go.
Hit
Win
that
some
like button
money.
on the way out.
Lose some money.
The Legacy Club.
Let's go, baby.